Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mount and Blade Bannerlord and we're doing another troop video where I'm ranking the top 5 best mounted archers this time. And so mounted archers are going to be one of the probably easiest troop types to use in the game. They're very overpowered. A lot of them double decently well as regular cavalry. And of course if you dismount them and use them for defense or even attacking at a castle or something like that, you're of course just using archers then. So very, very good units. They make it really easy to win out in the open field because basically you can just have them charge and they will just skirmish. They'll run around the outside shooting and they're all pretty effective in most situations. So anyway, I'm going to be going through the top 5 best ones you can use in this game. And we'll be basing that on a number of factors: the armor they have, the weapons they have, the stats they've got, followed up also as a secondary thing by like how difficult or easy they are to get, because that factors into the ranking, because there are certain units that are great but they're also really rare and really hard to get, so they're not worth talking about. But with all that in mind, let's start it off with number 5. Alright, so starting us off at number 5, we're kind of cheating because these are more of a skirmisher, or like a skirmisher lancer hybrid than an archer, but they are really good mounted ranged units. And since I always use my mounted ranged units for skirmishing anyway, I'm going to count it. So basically, the Beni Zilal Royal Guard. These ones are, I just had to include them because they're so much fun to have. Now, for one thing, they are hard to get because there's no area that I've found where you can just recruit them. You have to capture them in battle and then recruit them into your inventory from the prisoners. So it is a slow process getting them, but they are really good. Their stats are just phenomenal, as are their armor and weapons. So you see that you'll find either the Beni Zilal Recruit, Beni Zilal Soldier, or Beni Zilal Royal Guard, which is obviously the one we're talking about here. Typically, I mean, you could find them anywhere on the map since they're kind of a mercenary troop that you can find other people using, but mostly you'll find them down in the Aserai territory, so down in the desert, being used by Aserai lords, and especially the Sultan. So whoever's in charge at the time oftentimes will have them, and sometimes a decent amount. One time I captured like 50 of them at once, so it can happen. With that in mind, their stats are pretty dang good. You can see riding, we have 110, polearm of 110, so they do have a nice spear, and they use that pretty effectively. One-handed of 60, so nothing phenomenal there, but throwing of 95, and they do come with 2 bags of javelins, so they can throw a lot of javelins before they run out, and given how deadly javelins can be, especially in the right hands, it makes sense that these are pretty phenomenal troops. On top of that, the horses are really fast and really well armored, and the people that you're dealing with, they don't have a good helmet, but the rest of them is super well armored. And since they're on horseback, you know, they're pretty effective units. So like I said, a little bit cheaty because they're not technically what I would call an archer. They're a skirmisher type troop, but they are really good units. So I just wanted to include them in this game, especially considering they're only tier 4. These aren't even a tier 5 unit. They're only a tier 4 unit. But they're really good. So that's number 5, the Beni Zilal Royal Guard. All right, up at number 4, we have probably the one that you'll see most often, the Imperial Bucellarii. And for these ones, they start off as the Imperial Recruit, and then you train them up through the archer side. So the right side, you'll go down archer, trained archer, veteran archer, and then Imperial Bucellarii. And you will, of course, need horses to upgrade these. Pretty dang phenomenal unit. These ones are the exact opposite of the last ones. The last ones were hard to get. These are really easy to get. Because there are just Imperial settlements all over the place, and you can, obviously it's just the normal recruit, so they're pretty easy to get a large number of Bucellarii. On top of that, they themselves are pretty well armored. You can see we have some nice heavy armor on these guys. Gives them very good protection on and off their horse. The only con armor weapon-wise is their horse. Their horse is not very well armored. So it is nice and fast and nimble, but it is a bit more susceptible to enemy arrows and lances. So you're going to want to keep these guys out skirmishing and not send them right into the front lines. That being said, stat-wise, we have riding of 120, so pretty high there. Bow of 140, so nice and high. One-handed of 130, so just in case they run out of arrows or you have them on foot or something like that, so they're coming up close, they are pretty effective with their one-handed weapon. And athletics of 100, which is pretty high for a primarily mounted unit, so not bad there. Honestly, pretty solid troops, really, really easy to get. Excellent archers on or off their horse, pretty dang well armored. not a lot of weaknesses here. So yeah, definitely a solid unit that I know a lot of people use a lot of, and I myself utilize very frequently because it's easy. It's really easy and fast to build up an army of these guys. But that's number 4. Of course, at number 3, right in the middle, we have an Aserai unit, the Aserai Mameluke Heavy Cavalry. And now these ones are also just going to be from your standard Aserai recruits. So anywhere in the southern portion of the map, you'll find big cities or little villages, and you're going to always find Aserai recruits available, you know, to recruit there. Then you're going to want to upgrade them through the right side, the Aserai Mameluke Soldier, and then down through the Mameluke Cavalry. So regular, cavalry, and heavy cavalry. And they are phenomenally good troops. Really, really good. Again, like most Aserai troops, criminally underrated. So for starters, their horse is very well armored, so they don't go down very easy, and the unit themselves are very heavily armored, so they also don't go down very easily. They also are equipped with excellent bows that are strong and very fast, and they come with quite a few arrows. You can see our riding stat there is 130, so they're pretty good on their horse. Bow stat of 130, so well above average. One-handed of 130, so makes them a pretty good infantry unit once they're out of arrows, or cavalry if they're still on their horse. And athletics of 80, so not as high as the Bucellarii, but pretty high given that it is a mounted unit. Overall, really, really good troop. They are well protected. Like I said, armor on the horse and person is not weak. It's infantry tier stuff, so given that you're a skirmishing archer, these guys are actually pretty hard for enemy troops to take out, because they normally are staying at a distance, and they're very fast, and their horses are very fast, so they don't get hit that much, but even when they do, they've got really good armor, so they don't go down very fast either. So yeah, a lot of things to consider on these guys. And because of the fact that they're heavily armed and they've got a good one-handed skill, you can use them as regular cavalry. If you just want them to charge into the front lines, they work pretty well that way too. But yeah, with all that in mind, the Aserai Mameluke Heavy Cavalry takes the number 3 spot. All right, so at our number 2 spot, we have a Khuzait troop, which makes sense given that that's kind of their culture's whole thing is, you know, mounted archers. So yeah, the Khuzait Heavy Horse Archer. These ones are also nice and easy to get because it's just through the regular troops. So you start off with your Khuzait Nomads, then you go down to the left side, Tribal Warrior, and you keep left through the Khuzait Raider, Khuzait Horse Raider, Archer, and the Khuzait Heavy Horse Archer. So these guys have a lot of advantages. For one thing, you can see riding of 130, and that's paired with the Steppe War Horse, which is nice and fast and very maneuverable, so it's an excellent horse, one of the best in the game overall. And that horse also has really good armor on it, so it offers very good protection. These horses are not easy to take down. Then the archer themselves, they also have really nice protective armor, some of the best armor you'll find on any archer in the game. And again, these ones are on fast horses that like to stay at a distance, so they don't get hit very often, but when they do, it doesn't do all that much damage to them. They do come with the Steppe War Bow, which is an excellent bow. It's got really high damage, it's got excellent range and accuracy, and on top of that, they come with 2 big old quivers of arrows, so they can shoot a lot before they run out of ammo. Just like I said, rough stats, we have riding of 130, bow of 130, and one-handed of 130, athletics of 80, so again, not as high as the Bucellarii, which, you know, that is rare, but high enough to make them effective on foot as well. So, really solid unit, and I love the way they look. If you're playing as a Khuzait, you probably were planning on doing mounted archers, so it's a good thing that one of their basic troops, basic tier 5 troops, is one of the best mounted archers in the game. So that's number 2. Let's move on to the number 1 best one in the game. And of course, it should be no surprise to anybody, you know, at all, I would say, that the number 1 spot is the Khuzait Khan's Guard. These guys are absolutely dominant in the battlefield. They're so good at a lot of different things. So their key role is a mounted archer. But as you can see, they also have this big 2-handed polearm, which is really effective on horseback. So you can use them very effectively as either heavy cavalry, so shot cavalry, or as an archer. These ones are part of the Khuzait noble tree, so you have to find the noble's son to use these ones. But again, there are going to be villages and towns, you'll find them, where people will have these available to recruit, and then they always have them. So all you have to do is find out which ones do, and then run around in a circle, you know, between all those settlements and just keep recruiting them until you've got enough. And all the way up the line, these are going to be pretty solid skirmisher units. But when you get to the Khuzait Khansguard, it's just, you can look at the stats right there. Riding, we have 200, so way above average. Polearm, 220, also well above average and very effective with that weapon. Bow, we have 260, which is some of the highest bow skill in the entire game. They're kind of like a Battanian Fian champion, but on a horse. They've got really, really good armor, so it offers excellent protection. These guys are hard to take down, and their horse, which again is one of the best horses in the game, also has excellent armor. They come with that step recurve bow, which is excellent, and again, 2 quivers of arrows. Athletic. The only downside of the Khuzait Khansguard is their athletics. It's 60, so it is a little bit lower than every other one on this list. But they're so good, and they're just so effective that I mean, if I use them, I either use them in defense of a castle, so they're up on the wall, and then they're some of the best archers in the game just standing there. And so I'll use them for that, or I'll use them out in the open field where they're on a horse, and I very rarely see them get dismounted, because their horse keeps them far enough away and is protected enough that they don't die. So excellent troop, some of the best cavalry in the game for either archers or just regular shot cavalry. Honestly, one of the best units in the game. If I was doing a top 5 best units in the game, this would be on it. So that is all 5 of our best mounted archers in Bannerlord. And so that is all 5. So again, in order, that's number 5, the Beni Zilal Royal Guard, which would be better if they weren't so hard and rare to recruit. Then number 4, the Imperial Bucellarii. The number 3, the Aserai Mameluke Heavy Cavalry. Number 2, the Khuzait Heavy Horse Archers. And of course, number 1, the ultimate best, the Khuzait Khansguard, which we are, of course, using in this battle. So that is all 5 of them. They are all really good units, and of course, there are others, but these ones are just the top 5 based on all of my testing, which again, is just hundreds of hours of gameplay. But with all that in mind, I hope this video was useful, and I hope it was entertaining to a degree. But that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.